16, I think I was, and my brother's 14. My mom and dad spoke no English, so they took whatever job. They started working at Courtyard by Marriott as housekeeping. So they got us summer jobs, so my brother and I worked all summer. We would wake up at 5 a.m. and travel through those outskirts of Baltimore on foot to get to work and come back. And we clean. I remember cleaning, I don't know, 15, 20 rooms a day at 15. So that I can buy myself a cell phone and a computer and all of that. Then life got better, obviously. Then everybody was working. We started making money. Dad decided we would move to outskirts, well, suburbia of Baltimore. It was called Dundalk. It was a little better. At least me and my brother and I had a bus. Because if you live in the city limits in Baltimore, Maryland, you get on a bus, city bus. There's no school buses. And that's an experience in itself when you don't speak any English and they took you to a high school, showed you, you went in a car, and then tomorrow you'll take this bus at this hour. Yeah, let's just say we were late to school and couldn't figure out how the bus stopped because you had to pull the thing. We don't have that back home. Or, that's why I always tell Minela and everybody that walks in my office, I make a point to say, guys, you do not know how lucky you are. I had to work for everything in my life. And especially these kids that are such a nice young man and with good heart, or young females even, don't throw your life away. You have so many opportunities. Use it. But yeah, I know that maybe I'm taking too much of time. I'm going to switch to my husband real quick. My husband was born in Srebrenica, or village near Srebrenica. That's where the genocide happens. That's the only genocide in Bosnia that is legally termed genocide. To be genocide, they have to be proven that you did something based on religion, or that you ethnically cleansing one group of people. And they only did that for Srebrenica. There's other cities that people died, 3,000, 5,000, 2,000 people killed, but nothing was ever proved. They call it war crimes or something else. My husband is only 6 months older than me, so he, in April of this happened in 95, so I'm just gonna come to that day when everything was falling apart. So, from 92 to 95, Srebrenica is doing whatever they can. They're fighting from all sides, but in 95, they got surrounded on all sides. There was no way out. UN, United Nations, they came to Srebrenica, or specifically Potocari, that is 10 minutes from the city, and that UN has named that Potocari is a safe zone. So when they were surrounded, men knew that if they go, they're not gonna make it. So they sat there and made a plan that all men and boys, or anybody I guess over 14 that looked like it can be a threat to Serbs or whatnot, they went over the forest. So the women and their children went to Potocari. Now imagine, maybe 10,000 people. I don't know if I have my facts straight. All kids and women went to Potocari. Men they have to travel. It's only like, I think, 60 to 100 kilometers from Srebrenica to Tuzla. But they're surrounded, so they have to cross the forest. And somewhere they're gonna have to break. But even when they're just walking or crossing, they're getting shot at. Their mines, they're being set up. So my father-in-law, Amila's grandfather, okay, his story goes, they were traveling. As soon as they started going, not even 30 minutes, his brother, Amila's father's uncle, the grenade piece or fragment of grenade hit him in his leg, and he couldn't walk. And they have 5 to 7 days of walking. So he was injured, and so now he just sat there. There's 4 brothers, and he got him around him and said, listen, there's no way you guys can save me. I have a bomb in my backpack. Just here, I have $20. I don't know what money then we use, but let's say $20. Give this to my wife and kids if you guys make it, and just leave me here and I'll take care of it. Whew. So obviously, or of course, they didn't do that. And they said, no, if you're gonna die, we're all gonna die, we're gonna carry you. And that's what they did. They got branches, whatever they could, tied blankets, put him in there, made sure he wasn't bleeding, or applied some type of tourniquet. And they traveled 7 days. They were constantly shot at. My father-in-law, he would step over dead people. Somebody would lose an arm, or someone over here didn't have a leg, or missing body parts. While they were doing that and trying to break free, that's when about, I think the exact number, nobody knows the exact number, but what it says on the stone in Potocari now, it says 8,372 men killed. Of course, Serbs later went back and tried to hide the evidence, and they were moving the dead bodies from one location to another, or mixing the parts, or making it harder to find it. Amila's grandfather, well, great-grandfather, or my husband's grandfather, never made it. And so his body was discovered, I don't want to, maybe around 2010 or so. My father-in-law was here in the United States, got a phone call asking if there's anybody in Bosnia to submit DNA, or however they're matching, to match him. And then he wasn't, his whole body wasn't found. I think they found maybe an arm and a leg, but enough for us to, give him a proper burial, or at least know where the grave is now. And it's a lot of those people that are buried in Potocari. It's not a completed body. Most likely, 90% of them does not have all parts of the body. While they're doing that, women and kids are in Potocari, safe zone. Remember, buses are going to line up, and they're going to transport them to the safe zone. I mean, to Bosnian side, I guess, or wherever is not occupied by Serbs, because now Serbia is falling under their siege. My husband says he remembers screaming and crying, and they are being shoved in these factories because they have to wait for these buses. There's thousands of people, and so they load 10 buses and they go, and then they have to wait. And all night there was crying and screaming. And he said that UN was kind of standing right here. There's like a fence and UN, but then UN started speaking Bosnian. That's when they realized that UN is not going to help, and that Serbs have taken over. They captured some UN soldiers and take their uniforms. So if you were a boy that looked like a threat to them, they would literally, when you come to the bus, separate him from a mother, and they would hear screams. And they would say, we're not going to do anything to them, he's just going to go in a separate bus. And of course, they never saw him again. They did that a lot. My husband's brother was a little older. They were born in 1984. He was born in 1981. Samed's, my husband's mom, was clever, I think, at that time. She actually dressed him as a girl. She had put a skirt on him and put a scarf that kind of resembles hijabs now, and so that they wouldn't do that or pick him out. He was kind of tall, and he was maybe 14, so that he can make it to a bus. They stayed there for 2 nights. It was hot, it's July, there's no AC, so many people. They made it to the bus, maybe 2-3 hour drive, but then of course they stopped them a couple of times. They would come in, and these are Serb soldiers that we call chetniks. They would call in, then come in, and they would ask if anybody had gold, search the bags, and just, you know, make them even more fearful. Then they dropped him off what was between the zones, I guess, what do you call it, and they had to walk for an hour and a half. They got to this huge farmland,